Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to follow me along on my adoption journey. Also, as always, links are in the description box on how you can support me during the adoption journey. All donations to the Reese's Rainbow account are tax deductible for US citizens because Reese's Rainbow is a charity, a nonprofit charity. So you donate to them and they grant me the funds later. They give it to my travel agent. Anyway, or to my agency directly. Anyway, my Patreon is also down there, which you can pledge like $5 a month, and all that helps me cover fees. So today's video, I just want to talk to you guys about what fees are remaining. There's honestly not a whole lot of fees remaining compared to before. A lot of fees have been paid, especially a lot of like the little fees have all been paid now. So these are like bigger chunks. And so I just want to make a separate video going over all the separate fees and what needs to be paid and when it needs to be paid and plans for paying it and all that fun stuff. So here we go. So right now I am working on, all this is on my website, thechoiceofmotherhood.com, and that's literally what I have open on my tablet right now is my expense page. So what I'm working on right now is still the registration fee for CARA. CARA is India's parent portal and adoption portal. India is really like on top of their game in terms of technology, with using the technology to their advantage for adoption. So parents get registered on CARA, kids get registered on CARA, the agency then goes online and matches everyone online. There's no like paperwork going back and forth. It's not like most countries where you mail stuff to the country then mails it to your agency. Like, it slows things down. Also, it's not always accurate, but once I am registered with CARA, then I will have access to what's called the Carings, I believe is what's called, Carings portal, parent portal, and I'll actually be able to see some stuff. So like stuff like passing court or like what's called NOC, non-objection certificate. I'm going backwards in the process, court is last. But like some of those bigger milestones I'll actually be able to see on the website myself. Whereas a lot of the time it's through your agency or like you don't hear anything until huge milestones. Anyway, so right now I'm still paying what's called milestone 2 with my agency, which is the registration for CARA. And my last fee that I have left to pay for that, because I've been paying for that since June. So my last fee for that is called the dossier preparation. So in order to upload all my documents to CARA, my agency has to prepare a whole bunch of stuff, get stuff notarized, get stuff copied, and take that time to upload all the documents. So I have already sent off all my documents on my end. My parents are sending off, they had to do a guardianship affidavit, don't know if that's how you say it, but they are doing that. They're currently on vacation, so when they come back they will be doing that, but that has to be like notarized and all that fun expensive stuff. So they're going to do that and send it to my agency, and then, so I still have to pay for that. I forgot about that. So there's like these smaller things that sneak in there, like notarization of stuff that happens before it hits my agency. So anyway, so my parents are going to do that, and then when Alberta approves my home study, because my agency has approved it, I'm still waiting for that provincial approval. So when my agency or my province approves it in September, they will then send that off to my agency as well, and everything has to be notarized and like notarized and apostilled, and like 1,000 things have to be done with it. Thankfully, my agency code does that. So that's what I'm paying for right now. So $2,625. So I'm breaking that into, I think I'm going to try to give them $2,000 this, or the $1,625 I'm going to try to give them this month. And then I'll just have $1,000 to pay them in September. That's kind of my goal right now. We'll see what happens, because now I just remembered about that notarization. After that, I have what's called milestone 3, and I have orphanage fees to cover. So the orphanage fee is going to be my priority, because my agency fees, the milestone fees, my agency is very great with working with me to postpone fees as I can pay them, whereas the orphanage fees are non-negotiable. They are fees from India that say You need to pay this before this time, the end. So that's the big scary fee that I'm worried about right now, which is $3,000 US, which works out to be about 4,000 Canadian, depending on the exchange rate at the time. And that first orphanage fee I have to pay to accept Penny's file. So what happens is, once I'm registered with Cara, my agency, we're still waiting for Penny's file to be made. I'm not quite sure what's happening with it right now. Just the only news I have is that they are trying to move her to the better orphanage. I don't know if that means they're going to move her before her file is ready, or they still are trying to get her file ready to move her to the better orphanage. Which, better orphanage, like, there's no good orphanages in the world. There's no such thing as good orphanage. It's just, it's a less crowded, should get a little bit more attention. So anyway, where was I going? So, what happens is, once I am registered and once Penny's file is prepared, my agency will match us. That match then gets sent to my agency here in Alberta, which then they present it to me, which is kind of stupid because I honestly know more than probably what's going to even be in her file. But anyway, so once that happens, I have, from the time they match me to the time I accept and pay this fee, I have 30 days. So by the time I actually get the file, I'm going to have a lot less than 30 days, and I have to come up with $4,000. So some of that I have from fundraising, so, and then some of it I obviously have from what I can pay from my pays, but I'm still looking at like $2,000 short. I'm only going to be able to come up with about half of that, which is scary. So yeah. If you want to sponsor on Patreon, please, 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 please. If you want to help in other ways, go talk to Tina from Raising Vegan, because she is my fundraising coordinator for things that I can't do. So anyway, so that is the big scary fee that I am trying to figure out right now, because I don't know where that's coming from. And if I don't accept her file in time, I lose her, and it's possible she could get moved to the worst orphanage again. Like, I don't even, like, want to think about what could happen if I don't have that money in time. After that is when I will start paying down the milestone 3 fee. Normally this fee is due at the same time as that other orphanage fee. Thankfully my agency is willing to work with me. So it's the referral accepted fee, but I'm breaking it down because my agency is letting me. So in that fee, for them to submit my dossier, so what ends up happening is they submit a digital version to get me registered, but then they have to submit like a paper version that's more in depth once I accept her to get no objection certificate, to get court, to actually finish the rest of the process. They have to physically mail those documents. So to get the rest of the documents prepared and to get all the stuff made so that I can accept her referral and stuff like that, the dossier submission fee is $1,312.50. There's like all the other miscellaneous administration fees, which is like notarizing, postage, just all that random stuff. Is $1,312.50. I then have 2 fees for post-placements. When you adopt internationally, you make an agreement with that country that once your child is home, you promise to send them reports. This is non-negotiable. This is not something that you can be like, oh, well, I don't feel like paying that, or I don't feel like doing the post reports, I'm not going to do it, because this is an agreement we have with the country. And if parents stop doing those post reports, that country will close its doors, which then leaves millions of orphans stranded in countries, because they want to make sure that the children are safe, that the children that they are sending to these countries are having a better life than they would in the orphanages. So this seems like a really big fee, but when it comes down to it, it is proving to India that Penny is having an amazing life, and them putting her up for adoption and letting her be placed outside of their country is the best choice for her. So there are two agencies involved with this. There is my home study agency, because they will be physically coming to my house to do those reports. I want to say there's 6 post reports. And they're literally just, how is she doing? Is she healthy? Is she loving life? Those kind of things. So the fee for my home study agency is $2,646. And like I said, that's like 6 visits for them to come to my house, plus for them to write up all these reports to then send to my courting agency. My courting agency then gets the reports from my home study agency. They go through them, they do all their notarizing and all that fun stuff, and send them off to India, or upload them to India. And that's $1,575 for 6 reports. So there's a lot of work involved. Like, my home study report is 17 pages. 17 pages of somebody writing, and like, it's so detailed. So I don't know how detailed these post reports are, but even if they're 4 or 5 pages each, and I have 6 reports, that's the time for the social worker to come to my house, do the reports. Like, it's a lot of work. So anyway, so those 2 fees, and then the other fee is like a miscellaneous photocopying paperwork kind of fee, and I have that down as $136.50. I think somewhere along the line my fees got like shifted, because it's like one chunk of a fee, and then I've been breaking it down into smaller fees. But I think I overput for my home study agency post placement, and I underput for that. So anyway, it all works out to the exact same dollar amount. It just is where I shoved it. Before court happens though, so probably after the dossier submission fee and the miscellaneous admin fees, I will be paying the before court orphanage fee. That is again a non-negotiable. This has to be paid before we have court, or I can't go through court. Court is a necessary process for them to give me legal custody of Penny. There's what's called the no objection certificate, which is a huge milestone. And when you get NOC, it's basically saying India has no objection to you adopting this child. No one has come forward to claim this child. They have no issues with you adopting this child. So that's a huge milestone, but that does not make her legally mine. Court does. So if I can't pay the fee for court and court doesn't happen, she sits in the orphanage until court happens. So the court fee, the before court fee is $2,000 US, which is about 2,600-ish Canadian. When I converted, that's all subject to change. So once we pass court, she is legally mine. Some states require you to go for court. Penny is not in a state that requires that, so I probably will not be going for court. So it'll be once I get court. I can legally get custody. Technically, I can legally get custody once I get NOC, but I can't afford to go stay in India from NOC to court. I just can't afford it. It could be like 2-3 months. But if I have to go for court, I will get custody of her before court, and then just have to stay there until after court, and then we do all the visa stuff and all the fun immigration stuff after that. So sometime after court, and before I travel to go get her. This is in the scenario where I don't go for court. I have to do the Canadian immigration stuff. I do not have that written down because I don't know how much that's going to cost. I've already paid for part 1, and I have part 1 approval for immigration. But part 2 is basically like sending in, I think it's her passport, a photocopy of her passport, a photocopy, or like notarized. So everything has to be notarized and apostilled, I believe. Sending that in, the court order saying she's mine, the adoption order, all that stuff I have to send off to the embassy I believe in India. I could be wrong. I honestly am so scared for the immigration part. My agency can do the immigration part 2 for me, but it's like $2,500. Whereas for me to do it my own, it'll probably cost me maybe $200, $300. So I am choosing to do it on my own and hoping I don't mess it up. Thanks to the wonderful world of the internet, there's so many other parents that have done it on their own. So I am relying on their expertise to not screw it up. But I did immigration part 1 on my own and saved myself like $100. So I'm pretty sure I can do immigration part 2 on my own. I just have to figure that part out. I don't have that in the fees though, because I don't know exactly what documents I'm going to need that need to be notarized and how much everything's going to cost. But I'm looking probably, like I said, about $200-300. We'll see. Then once all that fun stuff is done, and I have her immigration part 2, that is when I will travel. I'm going to try to keep it cheap. I am only paying for myself and for Emerus, because at that point she will be my daughter and her name will be Emerus. Penny is her advocacy name currently. But anyway, I am only paying for our flights. I am not paying for anyone that travels with me. I am only paying for our flights and hotel. If someone comes with me, I'm hoping Tina from Raising Vegan will come with me. She will have to pay for her own flights. I mean, I would love to fundraise to be able to have her pay for her to come, but that's something that is not a priority at this point, because we need to get my travel expenses fundraised, because I have no clue how I'm coming up with this. The referral fee, like milestone 3, and the orphanage fee, as long as I have a good like 6 months from paying the other orphanage fee to travel, I can figure it out. There would be like enough time for me to tighten my budget even more, if that's possible. I will live off potatoes. So to like get my budget down to like absolute minimal, which is pretty there now. So I don't know how, but I will figure that out. Whereas I have zero money for travel. This is where the Reese's Rainbow account comes in, because they are a grant organization, so I can actually do it, whereas I can't do fundraising stuff. So the grant will be given to me when I get travel dates. So any donations to that, like I said, are tax deductible for U.S. citizens. I worked it out that I need, I think, $5,700 in my Reese's Rainbow to have my travel covered. Reese's Rainbow is in U.S. dollars because they are a U.S. nonprofit, but all my fees that I have written down are in Canadian, so that works out to my benefit because of the exchange. So that is my main way of getting my travel money right now. Please, if you have even $5 to spare, please go donate to the Reese's Rainbow grant, because seriously, that is my only thing for travel, because I have no clue where I'm coming up with travel money. And the thing is, once I pass court and I have my immigration part 2, like the orphanage is going to be like, come pick her up, come pick her up, come pick her up. She's not legally ours anymore. Come get your daughter. And I would hate for her to be stuck in an orphanage because I can't afford to go get her. So anyway, so out of that $5,700, it's approximately $7,500 Canadian. So in that I have, so some of this won't really matter because I don't really care. I have visas written down. I actually have 2 visas written down. I don't know why. I think at this point I had thought I would pay for someone's visa at least. The visas are $100 each. So I have it down as $200. So I can drop that by $100 and it would be down to $7,400 Canadian if I get rid of someone's visa and make them pay their own visa. So yeah, so where was I? So $100 for a visa for me. Emerus won't need a visa, obviously, because we're going to India and she's leaving India. I'm not sure what other fees are going to be needed in India in terms of getting her out of India, but I'm pretty sure once we have immigration part 2, she's a Canadian citizen, and therefore she doesn't need a Canadian visa or anything. The next fee I have written down is hotel. So my plan is to stay as cheap as possible. So hotels.com has some really cheap hotels that are like $30 a night. So that's probably going to be my best option. I was looking into Airbnbs. The thing is, if I end up traveling alone, I'd much rather stay in a cheap hotel that I have booked through hotels.com than to stay in an Airbnb, just for my own safety. Not to say that a hotel through hotels.com is going to be super safe, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. If I have extra money and can stay at a little bit nicer hotel, I will. I know some that are like $70 a night that are a bit better and more secure. I have heard that the Hilton in Delhi has like an adoption rate of like I want to say like 120 a night American. But honestly, I'm trying to keep this as cheap as possible. Where I will be staying in Penny's hometown, I have the option to stay in a guest house attached to the orphanage. However, emotionally, I don't know if that's a good idea, because I kind of feel like when I leave the orphanage with her, we need to leave the orphanage. Whereas us staying in the guest house, I'm not sure how that's going to go, because she's still going to see people from the orphanage, and they're still going to have access to her, and I don't know how I feel about that. So, and honestly, I don't think it's going to work out any cheaper to stay there than it would be to stay at a hotel. The only benefit is the money's going to the orphanage versus the money going to a hotel. So anyway, I'm going to try to stay as cheap as possible. So I have $1,000 written down, but money can get shifted around between that and the food and transportation kind of thing. So, so yeah, I have 1,000 written down. Honestly, if I'm there for a month, that can go up. If I'm there for 2 weeks, that could go down. Like, it all just really depends on how long I'm there for and how cheap of a hotel that I can get into. Food and transportation I have written down as $1,200. I honestly don't think I'll spend that much. I am super cheap. I'm super frugal. I am planning on trying to just buy, I'm going to bring like packets of oatmeal and maybe some like Mr. Noodles, some veggie Mr. Noodles or something. And like in country, I'm going to try to, I mean, India's pretty cheap to begin with, but I'm going to try to eat as cheaply as possible, and just keep my costs as low as possible. In terms of transportation, taxis, I've heard Ubers are super cheap in India. However, I don't plan on having, I don't want to pay to have phone service. So I probably won't have access to Ubers because I won't be able to get on my phone because I won't be bringing it because I won't have money. I'm not going to pay for that. So like the tuk-tuks and stuff like that are super cheap. Even they tend to overcharge tourists and white people. So from what I've read, I will get overcharged. But overcharged is like going from like 20 cents to $2. So it's not like I'm going to be paying a huge fortune. Also, in terms of my hotels that I stay at, I'm going to try to find ones that have either free or super cheap airport transports. And I'm just going to try to keep our stuff down to a minimum. I do want to go to the beach while we're there because Penny lives in a beach area in India, so I feel like that's one important milestone for her. The rest will literally be like food, and we're going to stay at the hotel as much as possible. Once we get to Delhi, we do have, well, we will have to go to the embassy, so we'll have to go there. The other big thing that I want to do is I want to go to the Taj Mahal. And there's a couple other places. There's like some garden place that her advocate mentioned to me that seemed really nice too. So Delhi is the longest point. Honestly, we could be in Penny's hometown for like 2 days. It could literally just be a pickup. Grab her passport, let's get to Delhi. So we might just get to the beach and then be going the next day kind of thing. Whereas Delhi, we're there probably about 2 weeks. So I want to do a couple little things, but I'm going to try to keep that down to a minimum. I just want her to have some experiences that are not going to cost a huge fortune. If we go to Taj Mahal, I will do a private guide. It's a busy place. It's like a 2-hour drive. I would much rather have an air-conditioned car for 2 hours than take a bus or the train or something like that. So that is something I'm going to splurge on, and I'm honestly going to ask for it for Christmas. That's my plan, is to ask my mom for, ask my parents to pay for our tour. So flights, I have written down 5,000, and I've received a lot of comments about people being like, whoa, that's so expensive. I live in Canada. Flights from Canada are not the cheapest, and I am paying for us to fly from Calgary to Delhi, and then Delhi to her hometown, then from her hotel back to Delhi, and then Delhi back to Calgary. So there's a lot of flights, and we are probably going to be stopping in Toronto, from Calgary to Toronto, because I need to drop off the dog. The dog is better off with my parents, because then I'm not paying for boarding. It's actually cheaper for me to take a flight to Toronto than to pay for boarding, and especially if it's, a lot of the time it's an unknown return flight. So you pay for your one-way flight there, And then you have no clue when you're coming back, because things can take longer than you plan. So to have an unknown return date with a boarding place would not be a good thing. Because if I go there and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to board my dog for 2 weeks, and then it turns into me being in India for a month, there's 2 extra weeks. So I am planning on dropping her off with my parents, and that way it will just give me the peace of mind to know my dog is safe with people she loves, and I don't have to worry about when I'm returning. Also, it makes a makes sense if Tina is coming with me, because we will meet up at the Toronto airport, and also it will also give my parents an opportunity to meet Emrys once we land. Whereas if I fly directly from Delhi to Calgary, I don't know when my parents are going to even meet her. So it'll be like we'll land in Toronto, go to my parents' house for maybe a week, because I'll be on maternity leave then, so it doesn't matter when I fly back to Calgary, and then we'll come back to Calgary. I'm also planning on taking the airport shuttle to and from the Calgary airport, because it is cheaper for me to take that than for me to pay parking at the airport. The shuttle has horrible times, I'll be honest, like I am not looking forward to that. But I think that it's better, again, because of the unknown, the not knowing when I'm returning. I'd much rather pay to get a shuttle there than to be paying for parking and be like, oh, I need to stay 2 extra weeks in India. Now I need to worry about my dog boarding and my parking, and I don't want to have to worry about that. So the shuttle's a lot cheaper than parking, so that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, so I don't have that included, the shuttle, but that kind of goes in with the food and transportation, the flights, and all the other stuff. Anyway, back to flights. So, and someone had mentioned about not getting her a seat. I legally can't. She is going to be 4, 3 or 4, depending on, I mean, if I magically can get her home before she turns 4, I would love that, because I would love for her not to spend another birthday in an orphanage. But realistically, she will be coming home when she's 4. She cannot not have a seat. I can't not buy her a seat. So she needs a flight home. So I need a flight there. I need a flight back. She needs a flight back. And those costs just add up. They add up. We will not be flying like first class or anything fancy. We are flying whatever the cheapest tickets I can get that are seated together. Yeah, it's going to be a long flight. I am choosing to fly with Air Canada, because I was looking at, I think it's called KLM or KML or something like that, and a couple other airliners. The thing is with them, they don't have direct flights, and they work out to be the same price as Air Canada anyway. Air Canada, I can take a direct flight from Toronto to Delhi. There's no stopovers. So it's a shorter flight, and then I don't have to worry about sitting in an airport and having to buy airport food or anything like that. We will just have our direct flight from Toronto to Delhi. And they have vegan food on, I mean, it seems like all airliners have vegan food now, but Air Canada has vegan food, so that'll be good. So yeah, so it's not costing anymore. And also Air Canada, because they have gift certificates, gift cards, people can buy me gift cards to help cover the cost with Air Canada. Whereas I couldn't find any other airline. WestJet, WestJet is who I would fly with from Calgary to Toronto. So WestJet has them too. But in terms of the actual flying to India, Air Canada has them, which would allow people to give me gift cards. For people that don't want to donate to the Reese's Rainbow or whatever, they can buy a gift card. So anyway, flights are expensive, and it sucks. It sucks. And then I have $100 gifts for caregivers. Again, this is something that I'm not too concerned about, because I'm probably just going to bring them like maple syrup or something. I want to bring them like little gifts. It's kind of just a thing that everyone in the adoption world does, is gives gifts to the orphanage caregivers. I know people are like, oh my god, she lives in an orphanage, she's treated horrible, why would you buy them gifts? Because it's custom, it's expected. They don't have to be big gifts. It's just small things, a token appreciation. I mean, they're raising your kid. Like right now, Penny's in one orphanage that she's being raised by, and then she's going to be moved to another orphanage that is going to do all the paperwork that I need them to do. They are doing a lot of paperwork to let this adoption happen. So for me to spend $100 on a couple little gifts for them, not a big deal. I would like to go back to the orphanage that she's in right now, which is going to be traumatic for all of us. And I will give them gifts there too. But I don't know exactly what's happening. So this video is so ridiculously long. I'm sorry. The only thing I'm cutting out is me sneezing. So this is going to be a long video. But yeah, so the end result of what I currently need to pay is $23,607.50. That's not including the notarization that needs to happen for the document my parents have to do. And it's not including the money for the immigration part 2. Those are 2 that I haven't included in this. And I can cover maybe 10,000 of that. So, yeah, time's a little ticking. Time is ticking. So yeah, so if you want to help out, the Reese's Rainbow is a great way to make a tax-deductible donation. Like I said, they're a non-profit charity. They will be donating the money directly to the travel agent. The other option is if my travel expenses are covered, or if at the time of travel I still owe money to my agency, they will, like, if I'm still have that milestone 3 not paid for, they will pay that money to my agency directly. So I will not even see this money. It is literally going to either my travel agency or to my agency, my adoption agency. And in order to get a Reese's Rainbow account, you have to submit your home study. So they have a copy of my home study, so they like legit know what I'm doing. So anyway, so that is like the best option for donations. If you want to try to help out with like that scary the $4,000 orphanage fee where I am $2,000 short for, Patreon is the best option you can do. You can pledge on there and then you can cancel. If you only want to do like a one-time donation of $25, pledge $25 and then cancel it before the beginning of the next month. Because I believe it charges the 1st of every month. So as long as you cancel before the 1st of the next month, you're fine. So right now, I don't know when I'm uploading this, but it is August 14th. So go on there, pledge $10, and then before September 1st, you can cancel it. So that's an option. Like I said, go check out Tina Raising Vegan. I will post a link up there to her channel, and she has some stuff. If you check out any of her videos, she has some links. I just can't be part of that. And those help with the current orphanage donation thing that I need funded. And t-shirt sales. T-shirt sales, hopeinthemaking.com. All those links will be down below. That also helps with that current $2,000 fee, or the $2,000 that I need. So yeah. And please share the fundraisers. Please, 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 please. The Reese's Rainbow has a link right on it. You can share it to Facebook. You can share it to Twitter. If you can't donate, please take the 5 seconds to share it. Please. Because it is mid-August and I'm starting to freak out because that $4,000 fee is going to be due probably the end of September. Maybe the end of October if I'm lucky. So, time's ticking and I'm starting to stress. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to follow me along on this crazy journey. Questions, comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you guys later. Bye, guys.